here we are, first Thursday of the year. We are back with our Facebook Live, so very exciting. It's noon on Thursday, so here we are. Today we have Barb and Audrey with us.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello.
So glad to be out here again in Facebook and in LinkedIn. So this is terrific. We are here every Thursday. Purse Strings provides free tools and resources for women to help them make smart financial decisions. And not only do we provide that, but we also provide a whole list we call our cadre of top-tier financial professionals who really know how to reach and engage and earn the female dollar. And today we have Audrey here. So we'll explore Audrey, all that she has to offer our community and why she's Purse Strings approved. And we're going to talk about money mindset. So Purse Strings has a lot in store this year. We're glad that you're here. This is also recorded and uploaded to YouTube for anybody who can't make the live. But we're so glad to offer women Purse Strings as a destination location for women to go to at any point in time when they have either a money question or they want to make a financial transaction, investment, maybe a change in their life that will impact their finances. We have all sorts of financial professionals at your fingertips. We have financial advisors, planners, life insurance salespeople. We have P&C agents. We also have attorneys and coaches and lenders and all sorts of experts who, whenever you need to tap into anything financial, are here for you. They've been onboarded by us as a Purse Strings approved professional, and we trust them as promoted to be trustworthy for women. And so welcome to Purse Strings. Let's kick off our first Purse Strings Live of the new year.
Yeah. So today we have Audrey. So hello, Audrey. We're so glad you are here with us.
Hi, Barb.
Hi.
Audrey's a new member of our Purse Strings crew, so we're so excited to have her here, and we'll be talking about money mindset. But before we jump in, Audrey, would you like to give a little introduction about yourself? Tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Yes, great. Hello, Audrey Faust, and I am a business and money mindset coach. And I niche down with women who struggle specifically with pricing and worth and value. But I cover all of money mindset issues that everybody struggles with, especially women.
Awesome. And so, I know we call you like a business coach. So you usually work with smaller businesses, correct? But yeah, you know, money mindset all the way around.
Yeah, I usually work actually with female entrepreneurs. So that are like struggling to, they'll see somebody's pricing and be like, I wish I could charge that. Like, why can't, and it's, I help them get there. So
awesome. So to start with money mindset, what is this money mindset? We keep talking about it, but what does that really mean and where does it come from?
So money mindset comes from how we think about money. That's basically it. Our thoughts around money and those who have money as well. So like typically people will, think like, oh, they'll have these things that were thought like as a child, like rich people are greedy, right? Or money doesn't grow on trees, or, all those famous things that our lovely parents have said to us along the way, not realizing that they are forming our money mindset.
And so I think you kind of alluded there that this really starts when you're growing up, when you're young. You don't even know it's kind of being created as it's being created.
Yeah, so I recently became certified in neurocoaching, and I've learned all about how the brain works and how it's formed. So all of our 90% of our thoughts are formed, 90% of our thoughts come from our subconscious. Our subconscious is actually formed when we were children or at a young age. And it's formed by hearing repeated things over and over again. And the problem is we don't even really know that our subconscious is like running the show. So we don't know what's going on. We're not consciously aware of what's in our subconscious. We really have to like pay attention to our thoughts to realize what's going on there.
Definitely. Yeah, it's this voice that we always hear in our head that's telling us these different things. So yeah, the money mindset is very interesting. So to the opposite of that, we kind of then have scarcity thinking. Could you explain a little what that is?
Sure. So scarcity thinking is thinking that you don't have enough money, like always focusing on what you don't have, right? Scarcity. I can't afford this. One of the things I always love to tell people, and instead of saying I can't afford XYZ, is, and if somebody's trying to sell you something, you might stump them a little bit. Instead of saying I can't afford it, say I do not want to use my money on this. It's a more powerful statement than saying I can't afford, because I can't afford is a scarcity mindset. And really, if you probably looked into your finances, 9 times out of 10, you could afford it, right? You're just choosing not to spend your money on that right now.
Right. It's just like anything else that we do or don't buy. And that's where we choose to put our money or our energy or, that hard-earned dollar that we have. Yeah. So how do we kind of change these thoughts around this negative thinking and kind of get into a better money mindset?
Yeah. Well, the first part, and usually the hardest part, is becoming aware of them. So most people aren't even aware of the thoughts that they're having. They're just on autopilot every day. So when I coach with people, I listen to what they're saying. And that's really key, because I'm getting their words. And by getting their words, I'm able to see what they're thinking. And that 9 times out of 10, they don't even realize that that's what they're thinking. So, right. But if you're doing it yourself, like start writing them down. Start writing down these negative thoughts that you're having and flip them into positive thoughts. And the way you can do that is by finding evidence of the opposite. So, an example would be, I don't have any money, right? That's another negative scarcity thinking. I don't have any money. Well, think about it. You probably have more money than the guy living out on the street, right? So you can always find proof of the opposite. So, one of my favorites is, it's hard, like a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they have to work hard, right? They have to work hard to get money. Think of evidence when you didn't have to work hard and money just came to you when you needed it, right? And those are things you just want to think of and repeat and be like, okay, that's kind of how you start changing your mindset, your money mindset.
Definitely. That makes it makes a ton of sense. Even, thinking about those times where money did come in while you were out playing and somebody bought something and you're like, it does come easy. And I know a lot of people think, I have to put in 40, 50, 60 hours a week to be rich or wealthy or successful. That's also kind of a limiting belief, or, you don't need to always work that hard. A doesn't always lead to B. In that situation. Exactly.
Some of the most rich and wealthy people will tell you really get 4 hours a day that are very productive and useful. Some of the most famous and rich people would only work 4 productive hours a day. And that's it.
I can see that, because there's some hours of the day that you just lose productivity. You can't be there all those hours. Yeah. So I know one of the money mindsets that you like to talk about is being financially free versus debt free.
Yeah.
Could you kind of go into those two comparisons of how they're the same but different?
Yeah. So a lot of people say, I want to be debt free. That's very common, right? So if you think about your brain, and if you say, for example, if I tell you, Maggie, don't think about a red car, what do you think about?
Red cars all the time.
Right. So like by saying, I want to be debt free, you're thinking about debt all the time. Instead of thinking about being financially free, that will focus you on the right thing. That's the first thing. And I also believe that debt is a catalyst and it is a tool. And as long as you're using debt for the right reasons, education or home or, whatever, not just, on the $1,000 purse you want to buy.
Right.
Like that's different. Like, so there's good debt and there's bad debt. And as entrepreneurs, you can use debt to leverage your business and grow your business. And very few entrepreneurs and business owners can have a business that's debt free. That's very uncommon. So,
yeah, it's very true. And, I know, I've read some about this and your mindset and how your brain works and things like that. And they always say it doesn't always see the not, like, or the no, like, I do not want to drink. Like, your brain just kind of thinks like, I want to drink, it's like,
exactly.
I'm sober. It's different, or, kind of like that, and so, yeah. And you can
think about a red car. You think about a red car.
Exactly.
Your brain doesn't understand the word don't.
And you can be financially free with that, as you were kind of explaining as well. So it's always those different things. Is that even the goal? Because you do really want to be more probably financially free. It's more of a feeling of success.
Exactly. Yes. It's more like, my net worth is higher than my debt, right? I have a nice nest egg. I feel comfortable that if everything fell out, I could pay my debt off with my assets and still be okay. Like, that's kind of the way I look at it.
Exactly. So it seems like this kind of leads to gratitude. If we're not going negative, we're going to go positive. So can you dive into a bit about gratitude and how this is really important in our money?
Absolutely. One of the reasons I call my business Grateful for Money, right? Because gratitude is so important. So, and it's because it's all about the positive thinking. Like, you want to attract money in, like, be grateful for what you have because it will attract more money in. So if you find a penny, a dime, a nickel on the ground, I get this question all the time. Do I not pick it up because I have money and I don't need it? Or do I pick it up? Pick it up because more will come. Like, pick it up and say, thank you. I appreciate this $20 bill I just found on the ground. And maybe tomorrow you'll get a 50. So,
right.
Like, that's just the way the universe, and if you leave it there, then the universe is like thinking, oh, she doesn't need the money, so I'm not going to give her anymore.
Definitely.
So that's my little woo-woo about gratitude and money.
If you can't be, thankful for the little things, you can't be that grateful for the big things either. So, we all have to take it in doses.
And so around the positive mindset. So there's no point in having a negative mindset. It gets you nowhere, does nothing for you. It makes you unhappy. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't go wrong with positive mindset. Like, nothing worse is going to happen.
Exactly.
And so then I know sometimes you talk about that the transformation is in the transaction.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting sentence. I've never really heard that before. I'd love for you to dive into that.
Yes. So that's very interesting. And I'll give you a little story around how you can think about that. So think about, so this might be a bad example with COVID, but this was an example I was given when I originally heard this. So think about if you have a $10 ticket to a baseball game and you come home with a cold, pre-COVID. You come home with a cold and you're like, yeah, I don't feel good. I'm just going to stay home. Okay. Instead, think about you spent $1,000 to go to some event and you come home with a cold. Are you going to go to that event? Probably. Yeah. So that's where, like, the transformation is in the transaction. The more you spend on something, the more you're going to show up and the more you're going to do it. If you spend a little bit on something, you're like, yeah, whatever. I don't have to do it. Right. But if you spend a lot on it, then you're going to value it more. Are you going to value, something you bought for $10 more or something you bought for $1,000 more? No matter what it is, something however you spend your money, the more you spend on it, the more you're going to show up, the more you're going to invest in that transformation. If it's a transformation or if it's an item, right? So
Definitely.
you spend like, well, let's say you want to lose weight, right? You spend $25 to go to the gym every month. Maybe you'll go, maybe you won't go. You spend $1,000 on a trainer every month. You're going to go.
Right. Definitely.
So that's, that's the difference. It makes the difference in your mindset. If you really want to experience transformation in any way, shape, or form, you really got to put that dollar amount on it, to experience it.
Definitely. You got to put some skin in the game.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure when you're helping people, pay for their or budget for whatever they are selling, you bring that in as,
Yes.
you want people to stay in with this program, they have to have it in. So don't charge them so cheap, you can, they get some skin in the game then, and stick with you and get the results because, half the time you won't get the results because you didn't do it.
Right.
And so, if you have some skin in, you do it, you get it done, you get the results.
Exactly. So, you just think about it your own way. Are you going to show up for, something that's free or, most likely not. Like you're going to find something else you have to take care of. So I've coached a few coaches around charging for their services. And at the beginning, they want to start out and volunteer and do this. And, and then people don't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's the reason.
Definitely. So I feel like we've learned a lot about money mindset today and, the scarcity thinking versus, having more of an abundant and grateful mindset. Are there any other tips that you want to share so we can really start the year off right with a great mindset?
Sure. Well, there's one fun little tip that I like to tell everybody I come across. Get $100 cash $100 bill and stick it in your wallet. Why do this? Several reasons. One, don't spend it unless you just keep it there. Because if you keep $100 bill in your wallet, you can look at it all the time and you'll realize you always have money, right? A lot of us don't carry any cash in our wallets anymore. We're just going around with debit cards and credit cards, right? Put $100 bill in your wallet. That's one reason. Second reason, it gives you the discipline not to spend it, right? Mm-hmm. It's sitting in there, gives you that discipline to keep that money. Third reason is if you come into an emergency and you need cash, it's in there.
Exactly.
We had that happen already. So just replace it as soon as you spend it. So it really puts you in an abundance mindset. Just by doing that simple little thing, say, I have money. I have $100 bill sitting in my wallet at all times. So
I can see that opening every time, and you're like, oh yeah, I got $100 here. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a fun little trick I like to share with people. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let me see if any questions have come in. If anyone does have questions, throw them in the chat, and we'd love to answer them. One of the questions we have here is money mindset geared towards women, or is this a universal thing? Where are we at with money mindset?
Well, I have another business where I'm a CFO, and I do have some male clients in there, and they have the same money mindset issues that women do. So, us as women tend to struggle with it a little bit more a lot of times because, women my age grew up in a society where men were the providers, right? I have a lot of women friends I have a woman friend specifically who her parents told her not to go to college because she was going to marry a nice guy that was going to take care of her. Now she's divorced. So, it's just and so it's just a different, from my generation, at least. I don't know about your generation, Maggie, but my generation, we weren't taught to be the providers. We weren't taught to be the one that was in charge of the money, right? So, so we then tend to struggle with it. We were taught not that, it wasn't right for a woman to make a lot of money, right? You're not supposed to
Right.
make more than your husband. So, so there are a lot more issues that women have, but men do have money mindset issues too. I've seen them.
And this is why we like to bring these conversations to the table, is because, we know money's hard to talk about. Some people in their house, money always led to fighting, or money was, it leads to arguments, or we always know it's scarce, so it's always gonna be scarce, which is what we really want to flip and change with these money mindsets, with some knowledge, with some professionals, to really be on track there. I know some of those, like, money doesn't grow on trees, huge money mindset one. Another one I learned one day was like, why not me though? Why can't I be that person with a lot of money? It's always this person or that person who came up from nowhere as well. Like, I'm not a Kardashian born into money, but there are plenty of people who went out there and made it as well.
Oprah was one. Oprah had no money and she was poor, and now look at her. She's one of the richest women in the world.
Exactly. And she had a lot of things against her, and she really beat all of them. But a lot of people, they're like, but how could I? Like, but why not you?
Exactly.
Which is always like, so your money mindset can really change your outlook, which is really important to kind of be aware of, and be, while you're setting these New Year's goals, and setting up your plan for the new year, even just writing some of these down, saying them to yourself every morning can be really helpful. I know I do them myself.
Good, great. Yeah. And the other thing to think about, like, my parents grew up with parents that were in the Depression, right?
Right.
So, like, all of the money mindset stuff that my parents had was genuine, like, from the Depression. And then it just keeps going down every generation. So those of you who have, like, children, think about what you're saying before you say it too. That's another thing. Like, don't relay your, like, money mindset issue, like, things, money doesn't grow on trees, to your children, because it's getting going. Let's get out of this.
Right. Yeah. Do the change for both of you.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's been great having you on today, Audrey. What are the best ways for people to contact you, get in touch with you? I know you have your Purse Strings webpage that people could always find you on Purse Strings, but I know you got some great social media as well. Yeah.
So Grateful for Money is my handle on Instagram. It's my handle on Facebook, and that's the number 4, Grateful for Money. My website is gratefulformoney.com. I can post in the comments a couple of freebies I have, and I have 30 money mindset hacks that I'll share with you guys. Yeah. And then I have a new one that's going to be we just finished it this week. That is 5 simple steps to achieve epic abundance, and it's focused around goals. So, like, I know that's, like, a lot what you guys are talking about, and it's being the new year. I wanted to come up with this goal setting guide because I feel like goals are so important. And that's part of your mindset, right? Is
Definitely.
Goals.
Awesome. Well, feel free to pop those in the comments. We'll make sure those get around. And we really appreciate you coming on today. And we will be here all month. We're back to our Thursdays at noon. This month, we're really talking about new year, new mindset, new you. Let's get started on the right foot. So we'll get started on budgeting, getting off on the right foot for the year, knowing your net worth, ways to start/restart your retirement funding, and how to really protect your family just going into the new year. So you get all those boxes checked.
I love that.
So we're always happy for anyone who comes on, ask you questions. We're always here for you. So thank you again, Audrey, and we'll be back again next week.
Okay. Thanks, Maggie. That was great.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.